Music is an art. To some extent, it is also a science. And by all means, we all connect to the subject in unique ways. Personally speaking, my dad has an intense love for a vast number of artists and genres. I have a sister obsessed with Taylor Swift, and I obviously love K-pop. My mom actually doesn't listen to music except when she wants to keep bears away. She doesn't have any real attachment to it, which is strange even to me, even to this day. But to most of us, it is something that brings comfort and satisfaction, but in very different ways. Taylor Swift, in my experience, uses a lot of concrete imagery. I get the feeling someone told her about white room syndrome and she became terrified of ambiguity, for lack of better terms. K-pop, on the other hand, seems to be more abstract. I think that's part of why I like it so much. Music is abstract in my mind, so speaking abstractly feels like the best way to use and explore it as a medium. It's not always the case. I have a collection of songs I want to talk about, and one was written by Yunjin from the Sserafim, who openly adores Taylor Swift. In fact, let's get to that right now because it will help me explain the difference between concrete and abstract. In I Don't Equal Doll, she talks a lot about people's bodies. It's not always the case, but she uses lots of physical imagery, talking about what she wears and people pointing fingers and even spitting her words out, all of which are activating my mirror neurons as we speak. It's concrete. It's hard to say if the headlines she reads are concrete or not, but she also describes a quote-unquote game they're playing and compares her to a doll, clearly in terms of how dolls are under control and always radiating beauty. That is abstract. While technically J-pop, I would like to include Kawaguchi Yurina's song "Look at Me" in this discussion. You may remember her from Girls Planet 999. She was eliminated in the finale, which breaks my heart. She uses a lot of celestial imagery, talking about being covered in and the break of morning light, as well as following the stars. She wants to keep a figurative flower from withering and will send prayers to the skies. These are abstract descriptions, allowing Yurina to build herself up as the song is seemingly about something akin to self-actualization. You've probably heard of something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It begins with physiological needs, but as you go up the pyramid, the needs become more abstract. They talk about things like love, belonging, and self-esteem. At the top of the pyramid is self-actualization, something most people are unable to achieve. From my understanding, people who are able to achieve the greatest sense of self include people like pivotal political activists, not someone like you or me. I don't mean to mitigate the significance of concrete imagery. I remember reading novels like Invisible Man and Ape Lit, and a lot of what I took away from it was linked to physical symbols like a suitcase of papers, white paint, and even the physical height of characters throughout the story. But there is a reason people are so obsessed with Freud and his obsession with the unconscious. Yurina wants to grasp at something everyone struggles to access in order to replicate the emotions of the few. One song I didn't know I would want to talk about is Wildflower by RM. I don't really listen to a lot of BTS's music. It's not really my thing. But if you could not already tell, I freaking love Mira's videos, and she's discussed this song, so I made myself familiar with it. In the intro, RM repeats "That's where I'm at" several times, directly placing us in the space that is his mind. He notably blends this with the physical, stating that dreams devour him. He later asks, "What's your dream?" It's like separating himself from abuse has left him with nothing or seemingly nothing. He's barely anything. I love the line where he describes the memories of holding on to Dawn's edge and says he's speaking silence. The entire experience is compared to an aside, even when he brings up his feet firm on the ground. His destination knows no purpose. His start was poetry, but he ends the song by describing all those times, suggesting he doesn't know when this will end. I've actually discussed Twice's Do What We Like on the channel before. It was a long time ago in a video comparing Sana and good old Taylor Swift. I love this song because Sana has such a good grasp on abstract imagery. There are some physical descriptions. She opens the song saying she's clogged in water, which is visceral. But she also describes a feeling when she closes her eyes. She calls it strange but familiar but without reason, affecting how she believes, opens her eyes, and once again feels. She says she wants to wander the depths. I think this syntax is very beautiful. It kind of reminds me of Underwater by Kwon Eunbi. In that song, she says things like the breath, focusing really hard on specific circumstances. Wandering is a very abstract state of mind, and the word the puts this experience on a pedestal like the hierarchy of needs. Another song actually uses the underwater type syntax, and that is Deja Vu by Dreamcatcher. They speak about the ends of the dream and how they hold this pain. Again, trying to apply concrete aspects to something abstract, it feels Crisp, it's visceral as visceral as feeling clogged with water, but it's still invisible. It's like trying to explain the existence of the mind to a behaviorist, except we know what they mean, because most of us get some satisfaction out of the music we consume, out of verse that reflects something about us internally. I also want to speak briefly about one SOS by Twice, primarily because of the line, I am colored with sorrow. It stood out to me as a beautiful description of this transformation they portray, part of a deep fall which they ask to be saved from. Sonically and specifically during the chorus, there is a light air. The song is meant to be fun, but I believe this is a facade, an apparent manifestation of pain. They are looking for something to attribute pain to, and love is something we view as pleasant, but intense, but again, pleasant, something we can stomach in more brief periods than other afflictions like depression or other disorders of the mind. The speaker does not want to grasp at an actual sense of control, and it almost communicates that on some level, embracing the abstract can lead to relinquishing your sense of self. It's like a spectrum, I guess. My dad gets something out of hearing an impressive guitar solo that I simply do not. I don't understand why it is so impactful for him. He does not understand why I care about lyrics, especially translated ones. I think some people naturally assume things are always going to be lost in translation, which is very fair actually. I personally view the work of literary translators as something beautiful. I once intended on becoming one of their peers because I, at the end of the day, love working with language, and languages. I like communicating in ways you must think to understand, so abstract imagery and concepts just kind of scream my name. It's actually hard not to talk about this kind of stuff. I hope you can sort of understand why I am so passionate, but I want to know what makes you passionate. I've been working on this for a while. I want to know things I've never dared or thought to think about. Thank you.